78, which is to the amendment offered by Mr. Follinghausen of New Jersey, and Brooks 79, which is an amendment to the substitute offered by Mr. Rogers of Kentucky. Basically, both of them are pay-fors. They provide a source for funding for the monies that would be spent for disaster relief caused by Hurricane Sandy. What it does, either amendment, is cut into foreign aid with the exception of Israel, Afghanistan, or Pakistan, and shift those monies that are being spent on foreign aid to instead be spent on American aid to the victims of Hurricane Sandy. So it is a pay-for, it's a substantive pay-for. The amounts are unknown because it's keyed to how much money is spent or has already been spent on foreign aid, and that can fluctuate depending on when this legislation should pass. The reason that I'm submitting a pay-for is quite simply because of the precarious condition that the United States government sees itself. Financially, we're on a path to nowhere. Financially, we're looking at, instead of a fiscal cliff, a debt mountain. We've had 4 consecutive trillion-dollar deficits. We have $16 trillion in total debt, and there is an effort now to increase that beyond $16 trillion. To put that into perspective, the amount of damage that's done to our country on an annual basis now servicing this debt is in excess of $220 billion. To put that into perspective, that $220+ billion that we're spending just servicing past excesses is 3 times all of the relief sought by Hurricane Sandy victims. Best case scenario, give them everything they want. It's 3 times what Sandy is seeking. It's more than 4 times what is being spent annually by the federal government on certain transportation infrastructure needs. If you want to talk about programs that are no longer available because of that money being spent on servicing our debt, think in terms of 12 or 13 NASAs. That's the equivalent of how much money we're now spending just servicing our debt, not paying it down. And so the question becomes, are we going to be financially responsible as we pay for disasters as they occur? And I would submit to you that this is one option. There are many of options that may be available, that may be on the table. But if we're going to be in a financially difficult time and we have to make hard decisions, then I would submit to this body that financially hard decisions have to be made. To me, it's an easy choice between helping Americans who need aid and helping foreigners who desire aid. These are American tax dollars being spent, and I would submit that it's best to spend those American tax dollars helping Americans that are in need. To kind of put it into perspective, here's an example of the choice. We could spend $531 million on Tanzania, $368 million on Zambia, $652 million on Kenya, $625 million on Nigeria, or perhaps as much as $2 billion in Newcastle County, Sussex County, Kent County, and other damaged areas in Delaware. We could spend $180 million on Indonesia, $142 million for the Philippines, $107 million in Vietnam, $85 million in the Republic of Georgia, or we could shift those kinds of sums to Atlantic City, Hoboken, and other places in New Jersey. I hope you get the drift. We have people who are hurting the United States of America, but we also have a future that we have to look at. And each time we spend money we do not have, I would submit to the members of this committee, that furthers the risk of an American insolvency and bankruptcy, and if that were to happen, it would debilitate our country. So I request your consideration of the 2 amendments that I have posited before you.